Hello. Good morning,
Hello.
everybody. Well, it's morning where I am. It's quite late where you are,
Midnight.
isn't it?
Yes.
Midnight. Yeah, it's
Yes.
the scary hour. It's me, Graham Coath, with my music, and I'm joined by Emily Palen from Nitrous M1, which is an interesting name, M1, because the M1 is a motorway in the UK.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So what does the M1 stand for?
Yeah. So Nitrous M1 is the name. I made up this superhero character.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. So I decided, what's my alter ego? If I were to come
Yeah.
in as the superhero, who would I be? So Nitrous, and I didn't know that Nitrous was I guess that's already a thing. I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I had no idea. So
I'm not aware of that either.
Yeah, I guess there's I don't know. I'm not
Oh,
so.
so you had to put the M1 at the end of it?
No, I
No,
didn't
you
know
didn't.
that. I didn't know that Nitrous existed in the superhero world. So
Right.
I just, without knowing that, I made up Nitrous, and then I thought, well, female knight, kind of this warrior, female warrior character, and then M1. Like Star Wars, they always have this kind of androgynous code of who they come in as, and so I thought that's her identifier, M1. So M is also a code for my name, Emily. People call me M.
Right.
Human nickname, and then one for unity. So
Wonderful.
that's her purpose. Yeah.
So just be aware, if you come over to England, that people might think you're something to do with the motorway.
Okay.
You're right.
I'll go fast.
It's the main motorway. It's the motorway that goes up from London.
Yes.
Most of the way up the country. So there you go. Yeah. In fact, maybe actually, when you do eventually, and COVID sort of disappears, and you do actually manage to make your way over to the UK to play some shows, maybe you should get yourself photographed by the M1 sign.
Hey, that's perfect.
That would be good.
Yeah.
So dressed up as Nitrous.
Yes.
By the M1 sign.
By the M1. Yes.
That would be good. I've put a nice fiery background in that. I might have to get rid of it in a minute because I'm sort of kind of disappearing. Bits of me. You said actually if I get it slightly right, my eyes actually look a bit fiery as well.
It does. It has a cool effect. I like it. Yeah,
it's I thought it's a similar kind of background to the background that you have in some of your videos. And let's talk about that because you're quite a. Before we get on to talking about your music, which is quite unique as well, you're quite a visual artist, aren't you?
Well, thank you for saying that. I guess so. Yeah, it's always been a part. I've been so focused on violin and music my whole life, but music is so visual. And when I get to that level of how I want to I've always wanted to bring this music in a multimedia, fully sensory way, like an immersive experience. So when I get and I love color, I think color, like certain shades have such beauty and depth, and they definitely have an effect. So I love getting to that point when I can kind of translate the music into that. Because it's not, it's like the story's not complete without doing that to me.
No.
So, and it's a way I don't have any pressure. I didn't study art. It's just fun. It's just pure fun for me. And I love the symbolism of everything. So it's a really kind of a luscious part of that experience. Yeah.
Well, I thought I'd show some of my younger kids your videos.
Sure.
To say I'm talking to this lovely lady, Emily, in a few days' time. I thought I'd show them some of your music videos. So I showed them the butterfly video first, and they were like, okay, yeah. And then I showed them Lock and Key, and they were like, oh, well, that's that's way out. But they were mesmerized. Mm-hmm. Absolutely mesmerized. Yeah. I mean, they're probably actually the youngest is now traumatized for life, but
they're not kid friendly.
No. But it looked like you had, in a way, quite a lot of fun making that video in particular. Yeah,
I had a blast. It was amazing. It was also very intense.
A long day on set, sort of thing, and
but what else am I gonna do?
Yeah, well, no, especially at the moment.
Yeah.
So what in particular are those songs about? I mean, that Lock and Key. I mean, you've got all these black skulls about on the floor, etc., and there's kind of that this checkerboard effect. And we seem to be in a sort of place between heaven and hell. I don't know. I mean, it looks. What's it about?
Definitely, it's about that core battle between death energy and life energy, being trapped in a world that wants you to be subservient to corrupt, manipulative powers.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a huge battle right now.
Well, now I've done my research. I've listened to a few of your interviews. And whilst all of the imagery and everything else is quite supernatural, that and everything that you're putting out there in terms of imagery is kind of otherworldly, or as a person, you're really rooted in what's going on in this world, and in a spiritual way. But I think you're deeply concerned about what as a human race we're doing. Do you just want to talk about that a bit, because I think that does come through in the lyrics, and it does come through in your music.
Yeah, and it's very worrisome. I'm having a worrisome day today about it.
Sorry.
No. I think we're all. It's nothing new. It is something that I'm deeply concerned about. I think when I wrote these songs, I wrote these songs a few years back, and so I was in more of an out there spiritual place, knowing something's coming down the pike. You have to spiritually prepare and get your house in order to be able to be very grounded, because something's going to come down. We don't know what it is, but as a spiritual being, we know we're here for a reason. I know I'm here for a purpose. My music is all here for a purpose. Trust the timing of it. Just get everything. Just keep going. Be true to yourself. That's how you're going to be okay. And then this all happened. And I was going to go, to Europe and tour, and then this COVID and everything shut down. And I really feel consciously that we're in a battle for free thought. We're in a battle for autonomy, it's just heartbreaking that I don't even know how to put it into words.
No.
What's going on?
It's easier to put it into music. It's easier to put it into music.
That's the only way I can do it. That's the only way I can do it. Because honestly, Graham, the thing is, I don't know the truth of what's going on.
Who does?
Who does? You think that the government's going to fucking tell us you think the government's going to tell us the truth? I don't. I don't think they care about us. Do I know what's going on? No. But what I do know is that it's important that we care for each other. It's important that we listen, and we're not listening to each other. We're extremely scared. So when people get scared and traumatized, and I've been there, I went through immense trauma when I was recording this record. Immense gas. I was in a domestic violence partnership. I had to get out of that. It was super intense, but it also educated me about manipulation, narcissism, abuse, and we're in an abusive culture. And I think that we're fighting to get out. It's monetary, it's racist, it's sexist, it's all of these things that we've been conditioned to accept. And if you look at a human, if you look at you as a being, and all of the uniqueness of that's an immense amount of power just in one person. And if we're all allowed, and not allowed, right? But if we all have the space to become our own, that's the whole thing about Nitrous M1. Who are you going to be in your most powerful? And we all have that. And we've been lied to told that we don't have it. And frankly, it gets to me, because we need that right now. And I feel it. I feel it every day. And it just keeps pushing me. But it's concerning. It's very concerning right now.
Well, then I feel I wrote. I've got a bit of echo. See if we can turn that down a little bit. I'll tell you what, I'll just mute your microphone whilst I'm talking because that will help. So yeah, I feel like I've worn the right T-shirt today then, because I was thinking with you coming on that, you know, I should get out one of my rock T-shirts, you know, maybe one of the heavy metal bands, etc. But actually, what I went for was, oh, let's get the right way, my Respect Mental Health T-shirt. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
respect mental health.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is. It's incredibly important, you know, and I just think nice plug for Ben Seal, who's leading the Respect Mental Health charge. But at the end of the day, no, it's incredibly important. I mean, we need to learn to look after ourselves and to look after each other first and foremost, you know. And it's you're right. We all hold a huge amount of power, and we've seen over the last few years, certainly. Especially from politicians, we've seen an inordinate amount of abuse of that power. So
yes,
yeah, I mean, you do realise that in England we're all watching over the sort of whole election period, thinking in America, thinking what on earth is going on? You know, are you? I mean, huge swathes of people in America were sitting there thinking, "What on earth's going on?"
Yeah, and we're by no means out of the woods politically, but
no,
I mean, we're a failing state, so we can't even get healthcare. I want to move. I'm ready to be done. I think it's pathetic. Our country, the state of the United States, is pathetic.
But let's talk about the positive things in life. Which is this album. Mm-hmm. So the album's called Dreams and Devastation.
Yes.
Interesting title. So again, there's that duality there. I think you quite like duality. I think you quite like playing around with that duality, the black and the white, bit of red in the middle. You know, good souls, bad souls, all of that sort of thing. So you know, I can see everything's a little bit of a battle. Which is great. In terms of your sound, well, that's quite hard to describe. Which that's great. That's exactly what you want from an artist, because you hardly want to say, well, do you know what, she's
this
heavy. One. Yeah, I mean, actually, I almost did you a disservice on one of my posts, because you just got to try and give someone a little bit of spark as to what. And I said sort of, you know, heavy metal with a violin, but you're not heavy metal with a violin at all, because I've seen a lot of people try and do heavy metal with a violin before now, in different ways.
Right.
So you've got your people like, you know, Epica and Nightwish and people like that, the symphonic rock, etc., with the big voices and all of that going on in the background, and then literally half an orchestra on stage doing.
I know, it's very awesome.
You're not that. I you know, in a way, there's a nod to you know, some of the more sort of edgy bands that came out within the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, Evanescence and all of those sort of bands, etc. And you've got that kind of, you do have that kind of, from time to time, that kind of stop.
Oh yeah.
You know, you got that. You've got that down to a beat. But you know, in a way, you're kind of more punky as well. Yeah. Do you feel in terms of where you feel your music is? Do you feel that you're kind of, in a way, more punk than you are?
I don't know.
Metal. You don't know, or it's just whatever comes out, really.
It's honestly, it's whatever comes out, and
Great. But I mean, in terms of attitude, you are quite.
Yeah, I'm a punk. I guess punk, like not musically punk style, but I like to. I'm a fighter, I guess. I always like to push back and go. You know.
Yeah.
Is that what you really want to? You know.
I think it's more
that
to do
attitude.
with it's more to do with the attitude, and it's more to do with the way you approach. You can see it in your eyes when you're singing, and actually, you know, and it's not. For people that haven't listened as well, it's not that you're deliberately sort of going pretty voice 1 minute and then gnarling, you know, you're not doing any of that kind of thing, but
right.
but you can hear your voice getting angry. You can deliberately and I don't think that's conscious at all. I think as you're singing, you get into the what you're talking about, and you can hear the voice turn from more Emily singing to Emily sort of, I'm gonna tell you this. Yeah, is that fair to say?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. You know, music, like we said earlier in the beginning, how do you say that? But in music,
yeah,
how do you express something that's so huge and massive within yourself, or something that you're observing that's so big? You know, how else do you put that but into music? There's no other way for me, and so I think that I'm just able to push out some of these huge emotions and these dreams or thoughts or ideas that I have, things that I wish would happen, maybe solutions or problems, whatever. The only way I can ever do that is through a song.
Yeah.
And so I think I can't help it. It's like I have to.
And tell me about the violin, because I mean, obviously that's that's an interesting instrument to play. I mean, typically, within this realm of music, you'd be playing a guitar, but you play a violin. Are you classically trained at all? You are classically trained? Okay, so tell me a little bit about your foray into why you got into violin in the first place.
Yeah. I'm born and raised in a musical household. My mother is a cellist. My older sister's a violinist, and there was music in the home every day. My mom's a teacher. So I grew up and I would hear my sister practice violin literature every day, these beautiful sonatas and concertos. So I fell in love with the sound of it. And so I started playing when I was 4, and then piano when I was 5. Classical. All the way through, very serious, all the way from childhood, all the way through 2 years of music school, a violin degree. I was going to go take auditions and be in an orchestra.
Wow. Okay.
And ironically, I'm practicing for auditions now to try to get myself to move to Paris. It's not my passion, but that was my route when I was young. I was going to be in an orchestra, Yeah. That was my dream. And then it wasn't quite enough. I needed authenticity, and I couldn't take the classical world because it's very competitive. And
it's incredibly disciplined, isn't it? Well.
And that broke me.
Right. I did wonder whether there's some of that anger comes from that kind of.
Yeah, it fucked. Can I swear? I should watch my. I'll watch my tongue.
Yeah, don't get me thrown off air. That wouldn't be good. There's still too many musicians that need me to interview them.
I'll be mindful. I apologize. No, it's a perfectionist. It's a very, very disciplined thing. So there's that part of me that just needs to run. And I couldn't do that with the classical realm. So I dropped out of music school and I started doing rock and roll. And I always loved heavy music. The heavier, the better.
Right.
The more visceral.
Anyone in particular?
Tool was my go-to when I was in high school.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. That stuff. Tool, Soundgarden, all of that whole era. Dark.
There must have been some classical artists that you quite liked as well, though.
Yeah, there's amazing work there.
Yeah. I mean, did you like people like Mahler? Did you like people that, do you know what I mean? That were quite heavy in the classical world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think more for classical, I really go for the beauty, the romanticism, the Brahms, Brahms, Mendelssohn, Fauré, just pure romance and beauty. It's just.
You're not into the bombast world of classical music.
I am. There's something there for sure. Hey.
Excuse me 2 seconds.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. But in some of that modern music, there can be a coldness to it as well. And I think it's so heavy. It gets so heavy that I need that levity, and I try to get that. I try to strike that balance in my music as well, the heaviness, but also some levity, some ethereal qualities, you know. So it's balanced.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of how this album was constructed, sorry, we're getting a bit of echo again. I'm going to mute you. In terms of how this album was constructed, did you write a lot of it on the violin, or did you work with other musicians in terms of building it up?
No, I wrote all those songs on the violin except for two I wrote on keyboard, organ.
Right.
And then I was playing with the drummer consistently, and we pulled in a bassist for the session, Uriah Duffy, and Rob Aylers is the drummer. And so and they came in, and we pulled that session through, and they laid down bass and drums, and then I worked with the engineer to layer in all the violins and keyboard parts and everything. But I primarily wrote all of that.
Absolutely. Someone said Guten Morgen, and then they said, that's listening, and then they said, no idea why I'm speaking German. Oh, I've no idea why you're speaking German either.
Morgen,
but Guten Morgen to you. That's about the limit of my German, although I can count to 21, I think, as well.
Oh, I forgot.
Well, only because the only reason I ever learned to count to 21 in German, this is a true story, is because I went on holiday to Austria. So this is a bit weird anyway. Yeah, so I went on holiday to Austria when I was young, and got playing table tennis with Germans.
Oh.
So, and of course in table tennis, you play up to 21. So they would count in German. And just by playing for hours table tennis, I learned how to count up to 21. Never got past 21 because you don't go past 21 in table tennis particularly.
That's great. I studied German. For 4 years, I forgot it.
Really? Oh, I was useless at school when it came to languages. I was doing really well with languages in my middle school, and we had a really great French teacher. And then when I moved to the upper school, and I did it for a year there, it was just rubbish. I mean, the teacher was just like, you get a teacher. I think you get a bad teacher like that in any subject, it kind of puts you off. But it was also just like most of the lessons where you sat in a little booth with headphones on like now, and it was the sentences that you were trying to learn were just like, there's a cat in the road. Well, when are you ever going to say that? When you go anywhere, there's a cat in the road. Contextual stuff, isn't it, really? I think at the end of the day, if you want to learn something, it's got to be contextual. It's got to be something that you're going to think, I'm going to actually use that in real life. So that's where I am with that. So tell me, in terms of what's next for you, hopefully you're trying to promote this album. Is that a struggle at the moment with this pandemic? Oh, you've frozen. Hold on, let's see if I can bring you back in. Oh dear, we seem to have lost Emily there for a minute. Let's see if we can bring her back. Do you know what? For a minute I thought she's transfixed by what I'm saying, but actually it was literally just the case that she disappeared there. Let's hope that we can bring Emily back into the conversation. If not, that was a lovely conversation with Emily. Nitrous M1, her album Dreams and Devastation, is out already. You can listen to it on Spotify, but please don't just listen to it on Spotify. Go and find it on something like Bandcamp, etc., and buy it. Or if possible, go and buy the CD, because even better. I'm just gonna end this broadcast for a minute, and I'll see if I can get Emily back. If I can, I'll organise a return run. But thank you for listening this morning, and I hope you've enjoyed that. Bye for now.